Caring Review, print speaking to the blind, celebrating 40 years of audio newspaper production. Welcome to this week's edition of the Glasgow Times podcast, recorded at the Bishop Briggs Media Centre by our amazing volunteers. You can get in touch with us via Facebook, Twitter or Instagram using @QandReview. That is @CUEANDREVIEW. You can also contact us directly by emailing information@QandReview.com. That is INFORMATION@CUEANDREVIEW.com, or by calling 0141 772 3976. That's 0141 772 3976.
From the Glasgow Times, Friday the 2nd of August, from the news section. Extremists have no place in Glasgow. Report by Stuart Patterson. Glasgow has been urged by Anas Sarwar to reject any attempts by the far right to sow division in the wake of the killing of 3 girls in Southport. The Scottish Labour leader spoke as there have been efforts to organise a demo in George Square next month after disturbances in the Lancashire town followed the stabbing of the girls and teachers at a Taylor Swift-themed dance class. The incident left 3 dead and others in a serious condition. The 17-year-old male accused of murdering the 3 girls has been named as Axel Rudakabana after reporting restrictions preventing him from being identified were lifted by a judge. BB King, 6, Elsie Stancombe, 7, and Alice da Silva Aguiar, 9, died after the attack on Monday. Initially, there were social media posts about a gathering on August the 10th, but that has now been moved to a date in September. Prominent English far-right figures, including Tommy Robinson, have also promoted the event in Glasgow. When asked about the planned event, Sarwar warned against complacency but said extremist right-wing groups have never been successful in Glasgow when they have come to the city. He said, "There have been attempts by the far right before to do protests here or to sow divisions, and every single time the far right has tried to do that in Glasgow, Glasgow has overwhelmingly rejected them. I have no doubt Glasgow would do that again if this happens." He added, "We can't be complacent. We can't pretend that there aren't issues here, but we've always been a city that, regardless of where you come from, regardless of where you're born, when you come here, you're one of us. We want to make sure the police and security services are working together to make sure that if anything does happen, we're well prepared for it, and we reject them the way we've been rejected in the past." He said the first priority must be the families affected by the killings in Southport. Sarwar said, "The most important people in all of this are the families that are grieving the loss of a loved one, the parents that are worried about kids that are still in intensive care. The community is hurting right now, and our first priority should be about giving those people the space, love, the support and resources they need." Sarwar added, "The attempt by the far right to hijack that issue for their own political objectives, I think, is completely and utterly reprehensible and disgusting. And those that are either attempting to incite violence or those that are engaging in violence have to face the full force of the law, and that's why there's a responsibility on the police and the security services to make sure that happens." And that report was by Stuart Patterson. From the Glasgow Times, Friday, August the 2nd, from the news section. Case involving firm trying to recover £9.5 million from Rangers to begin. Article written by James Mulholland. A senior judge has told lawyers acting in a football kit sales dispute involving Rangers that the multi-million-pound action will kick off next week. Lord Braid made the comment in the final procedural hearing in proceedings brought against the club by a sportswear brand called Elite Sports Group Limited. Elite's lawyers are pursuing an action against Rangers and are trying to recover £9.5 million from the Glasgow side. Elite were the exclusive brand partner to Danish sportswear firm Hummel, and it instructed lawyers to go to the Court of Session in Edinburgh last November. Lawyers claim the Gers breached a contract which allowed the firm to provide the Glasgow team with Hummel kits. Lawyers for Elite say the breach occurred when Rangers signed a deal with Castore, a Manchester-based brand which counts tennis ace Sir Andrew Murray as one of its investors. However, Elite went into administration shortly after the case called in Scotland's highest civil court. The administrators for the film are pursuing the action at the Court of Session in Edinburgh. On Thursday, Elite's advocate David Thompson KC told Lord Braid that he and his fellow advocates were fully prepared. He added, "Parties are ready to proceed." Lord Braid then allowed the case to proceed. He said, "The case will proceed on Tuesday when we will kick off." The case being brought by Elite arises from a separate legal dispute involving Sports Direct, which was then owned by Mike Ashley and Rangers. Lawyer for Ashley's firm went to the High Court in London seeking an injunction to stop the deal between Elite and Rangers from going ahead. The deal, which was signed in October 2018, was supposed to allow Hummel to supply the Gers with kits and to sell replicas to fans. However, Judge Lionel Percy QC found that the deal with Hummel, to be a 3-year contract worth £10 million, was undertaken without giving Sports Direct a chance to match it. Judge Percy ordered that Rangers couldn't wear any official Rangers technical products designed by, supplied by, gifted by or manufactured by Elite or Hummel or bearing the Hummel brand. Castore is the official technical kit partner of a number of leading teams and athletes, including Rangers, McLaren Racing, Newcastle United, England Cricket, US Open champion Matt Fitzpatrick and Andy Murray. The brand sells into more than 90 countries globally and was valued as being worth £750 million in September 2022. The court has previously heard how Rangers signed a deal with Castore in May 2020 and that this deal breached the terms of the Hummel one. The agreement was reported to be worth £20 million and covered 5 seasons. Mr Thompson told the court that this new deal caused Elite to sustain losses, which it needed to be compensated for. Rangers are contesting the action. The case is expected to take 8 days. It will begin on Tuesday. And that report was written by James Mulholland. From the Glasgow Times, Friday the 2nd of August, from the news section, Hovis truck hit person. Hovis has issued a statement after one of its trucks hit a person in Glasgow. A bread delivery vehicle was involved in an alleged collision with a cyclist on Alexander Parade in the city's East End on Wednesday. The cyclist, a 26-year-old woman, was rushed to hospital to be treated for her injuries. Meanwhile, a 50-year-old man who was driving the truck will be reported in connection with an alleged road traffic offence. Hovis has now revealed that it has been made aware of the incident and an internal investigation has been launched. A spokesperson for Hovis said, "We are aware of an incident between a Hovis vehicle and a cyclist that took place in Glasgow on Wednesday, July 31st. An internal investigation is underway to establish the cause of the incident and our thoughts are with the people involved." A spokesperson for Police Scotland said, "We were called to a report of a crash on Alexander Parade involving a truck and a cyclist around 5:20 p.m. on Wednesday, July 31st. Emergency services attended and the cyclist, a 26-year-old woman, was taken to the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital for treatment. The driver of the truck, a 50-year-old man, will be reported in connection with a road traffic offence." And the article was unattributed. From the Glasgow Times, Friday the 2nd of August, from the news section, Man appears in court over football outbursts. Report by Esder Tarnay. A Glasgow man appeared in court after he burst a football that landed in his garden. Terence Costello pleaded guilty to behaving in an aggressive manner, approaching 2 kids aged 12 and 8 and striking their football, damaging it. The youngsters were playing football at a Nitshill play park in 7:30 p.m. on August 28, 2023. Their ball fell into the 57-year-old's front garden. He picked up the ball, walked across to the play park and entered it while holding a spike. He stabbed the ball, which deflated, and shouted at the kids, "If I see any other balls, I'm going to get a knife and burst the ball." The children went home and told their mothers. Another neighbour heard the shouting from the park, and when she looked out her living room window, she saw Costello walking through the park, holding the spike and making stabbing motions to the ball, deflating it before putting it in a bin. Costello went home and police were called. When they arrived, they retrieved the ball, which was seen to have multiple holes consistent with a spike being used. Officers went to Costello's home where he was cautioned and charged. At the hearing earlier this week, his lawyer said, "What happened was that prior to this, there were a series of instances where balls landed in his garden and this caused damage. This would have been to taunt him. The balls were there without his permission. Multiple times he would come out to find articles and plants destroyed. He tried to talk to the parents and reason, but it had not helped. On this occasion he snapped, but it will never happen again. He has never come to the attention of the courts before. These are the most unfortunate circumstances. Immediately, he realised what happened and it is of great embarrassment for him. He was trying to make a statement. He was not trying to frighten them." Sheriff Bernard Ablett asked, "Was the spike part of a solar lamp?" The solicitor confirmed that it was. The sheriff said, "I do consider that this was a highly unusual situation. You snapped following a course of harassment. It is also important to note that your property has been damaged. This is an exceptional sentence." Costello was given an absolute discharge. And that report was written by Esther Tarnay. From the Glasgow Times, Friday the 2nd of August, from the news section. Man tried to attack police. This article is an exclusive by Esther Tarnay. A Glasgow man threatened to stab cops who showed up to his block of flats for an unrelated matter. Cops arrived at a Knightwood's address at 5:40 p.m. on July the 8th, 2023. Stuart Dudley, 53, began to shout at officers. Police told him to remain calm. However, his behaviour escalated and he began pacing up and down the hallway, shouting. Handcuffs were applied to his wrists. He told cops, "I'm going to stab yous." More officers arrived to control Dudley, and he was taken to Clydebank Police Station in a cell van. There, he was brought to a holding cell and 2 police officers were taking hold of him when he lunged forward. He tried to headbutt one cop, but did not make contact. Police were able to control and restrain him, but he could not be cautioned and charged due to his violent behaviour. Dudley appeared at Glasgow Sheriff Court from custody this week after he pleaded guilty to assaulting a cop and threatening with violence. He further admitted to breaking a non-harassment order on June 28th. His lawyer said, his offences are linked to problematic alcohol use. The report said he is a person who has to deal with these issues. He was under the influence of alcohol both times. I wonder if you would consider referring him to the alcohol court. The case was deferred for an alcohol court assessment, and Dudley was released on bail. Sheriff Bernard Ablett told him, "This may be your last chance." And that article was an exclusive by Esther Tarnay. From the Glasgow Times, Friday the 2nd of August, from the news section. Man, 36, shouted at neighbours. This article is an exclusive by Esther Tarnay. A Glasgow man shouted and swore at his partner's neighbours amid an ongoing legal dispute. Police officers took Gary Clark, 36, to the East End address of his partner on June the 29th around 9 a.m. After getting out of the car, he stood outside the property and shouted towards multiple neighbours. Cops told him to go inside, but he leaned over the fence to a neighbour's garden, shouting and swearing towards him, saying, "F, asterisk, asterisk, king, mon then, I got something inside for you." He continued to cause a disturbance and was taken to London Road Police Station, where he was cautioned and charged. The Bridgeton resident appeared at the Glasgow Sheriff Court this week after he pleaded guilty to acting in an aggressive manner. His lawyer explained, There had been difficulties in the neighbourhood. He presented me with a number of injuries, including to his head and back. There were attacks on him and his partner. They are not living in that area anymore. These issues have caused him difficulties. He was on a community payback order, CPO, before and engaged well. He is also taking part in a rehabilitation programme. He continues to engage with social work. There is a lot going on for this man, but he has been out of trouble since the CPO was ordered. Sheriff Bernard Ablett remarked, "This was a reaction to an incident involving the neighbours. I cannot go into much more detail due to the impending trial. Sentence was deferred for good behaviour in the conclusion of the other case." And that article was an exclusive by Esther Tarnay. From the Glasgow Times, Friday the 2nd of August, from the news section. Parents given warning over dangerous refreshment. Parents have been warned about giving their children a popular summer drink. The warmer weather and sunny spells often make us crave an ice-cold refreshment, with drinks such as slushies seeming like a good choice. Their bright colours and interesting flavours may seem like an attractive choice for young ones, but food standards have urged parents that they should never give them to children under the age of 4. The frozen beverage contains the food additive glycerol, E422, which, if consumed by very young children, can cause problems like headaches and sickness. If a child consumes slushies in excess, this can result in shock, hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, and loss of consciousness. Children under 4 should never drink this product, and children under 10 should not be offered free refill promotion to prevent them from consuming too much of it. The warning has been reiterated by East Renfrewshire Council, which said, slush ice drinks containing glycerol shouldn't be given to children under 4. Children below this age can suffer from headaches and sickness. If several products are drunk by a child in a short space of time, it can cause shock, hypoglycemia, and loss of consciousness. It comes after a 4-year-old girl from Stranraer had to be hospitalised after drinking a slushie. Arler Agnew turned grey when her blood sugars plummeted after only half a cup of the icy drink at a friend's house on Saturday, the BBC reported. Tests revealed that Arler's blood sugar had dropped to an abnormally low level, resulting in hypoglycemia. Her mother, Keris, said, "A doctor came through and said, 'I know what it might be,' he said. 'I think it's the slush puppy.' He's spoken to the poison unit and found that glycerol wasn't for under 4s. And that article was unattributed. From the Glasgow Times, Friday the 2nd of August, from the news section. Police tape off flat block after death of man. Report by Ben Waddle and Emily Moore. Police have taped off a flat block in East Kilbride after the death of a man. We reported how officers installed a cordon around a block of flats on Falconbridge Road in the town this morning. Now, the forces revealed they received a report that a man had died on Drury Lane Court, Bosworth Road, at around 4:30am on Thursday, August the 1st. Currently the death is being treated as unexplained. Meanwhile, an investigation is underway. A report will be sent to the Procurator Fiscal. In pictures captured by the Glasgow Times, cops could be seen standing on guard while they have taped off around the property. Bosworth Road has also been shut amid the situation. A spokesperson for Police Scotland said, "We received the report of a death of a man on Drury Lane Court, Bosworth Road, East Kilbride, around 4:30am on Thursday, August the 1st, 2024. The death is currently being treated as unexplained and inquiries are ongoing. A report will be sent to the Procurator Fiscal in due course." And the article was by Ben Waddle and Emily Moore.
From Glasgow Times, Friday, 2nd of August, Lifestyle section. Glasgow family-owned restaurant wins several awards, by Ben Waddle. Popular Glasgow restaurant has won several accolades at the 2024 Great Taste Awards. Namaste by Delhi Dagba, which is located in the St Enoch's shopping centre in the city, scooped 6 Great Taste Awards. competing against 13,650 culinary products submitted by almost 3,500 businesses. The 6 items from the establishment's menu were awarded stars at the Guild of Fine Foods Great Taste Awards 2024. The eatery's chicken butter masala achieved the illustrious 2-star rating for its rich and fragrant curry sauce, while the aromatic chicken malada was given a 1-star accolade at the event. Also, to receive the much-coveted 1-star rating was the venue's lamb bhuna, shahi paneer, vegetable pakora, and the invigorating mango and ginger lassi. The family-owned restaurant, which is inspired by the flavours of Old Delhi, is known for serving up authentic Indian cuisine with a modern twist. After the award wins, Rashpal Singh, CEO of Namaste by Delhi Dagbar, said, "It is an immense privilege to have our dishes recognised at the 2024 Great Taste Awards. As a small family business, it is incredibly rewarding to see our efforts awarded at this prestigious industry event. We have endeavoured to create a rich, authentic menu that delights and impresses our customers with every mouthful. Receiving the Great Taste Star ranking for 7 of our dishes highlights the team's dedication and efforts." Following the news, George Reader, St Enoch's Centre Director, congratulated Namaste by Delhi Dagbar on their success. He said, "This is a remarkable achievement for Namaste by Delhi Dagbar and one that the whole team should be very proud of. Achieving awards for 6 different dishes is a testament to the high quality and delicious flavour of the menu and the hard graft Rashpal and his team put into ensuring the very best culinary experience. I highly encourage everyone to stop by and sample these incredible dishes." That article was by Ben Waddle. From Glasgow Times, Friday, 2nd of August, Lifestyle section, Glasgow roads to be closed to allow festival to take place, by Ben Waddle. 2 Glasgow roads will be closed to allow a community festival to take place later this month. The Springburn Community Street Festival will take place on Saturday, August the 24th. The event is held from 12 p.m. until 4 p.m. in Springburn Way in the city's north. According to the festival organisers, it will take place on the street and inside Springburn Shopping Centre and Leisure Centre. During the day, there will be various activities on offer, including bouncy castles, face painting, local performances and much more. To allow the festival to be held, 2 Glasgow roads will be closed. Glasgow City Council says Springburn Way will be shut between Hillkirk Street and Lenzie Gate, while Case Street will also be closed for its full length from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. on Saturday, August the 24th. Meanwhile, drivers will be unable to stop on both roads as well to wait, load or unload their vehicles from 3 p.m. on Friday, August the 23rd until 6 p.m. on Saturday, August the 24th. The local authority has revealed the closures and restrictions are being put in place for the safety of the community event. That article was by Ben Waddle. From Glasgow Times, Friday, 2nd of August, Lifestyle section, Iconic Glasgow pub on Subway Crawl reveal new beer garden, by Ben Waddle. An iconic Glasgow pub, which is part of the city's Subway Crawl, has revealed its exciting new outdoor beer garden. The Lauriston has taken to social media to reveal its smashing new outdoor area where punters can enjoy an ice-cold pint in the sunshine. In pictures posted by the venue, chairs and tables have been installed outside the bar as well as benches for customers to sit on. Located on Bridge Street in the Gorbals, the Boozer is known for remaining virtually unchanged since the 1960s. In the post, the watering hole said, "Lovely day for it at the Lauriston as we open up our brand new beer garden. Come on down for an ice-cold pint in the sunshine." Fans of the pub flocked to the comments of the post to share their excitement of the news. One said, "Should have been done years ago." Another added, "Best pub in Glasgow." A third said, "Love it." In March this year, the famous Glasgow pub, which was owned by the same family for more than 4 decades, was sold. We reported how the bar was sold on to a private buyer. That article was by Ben Waddell. From Glasgow Times, Friday, 2nd of August, Lifestyle section. Indie rockers declare Kelvin Grove bandstand as pretty special, by Stacey Mullen. Indie rockers Ocean Colour Scene have described the Kelvin Grove bandstand as pretty special. The band, fronted by Simon Fowler, took to the West End venue stage, which opens up during the summer in the City Park on Wednesday night. Taking to social media website X, they declared, "What a night, Glasgow. We had an absolute blast performing on the bandstand. As stages go, that was pretty special." The band, who have previously performed in iconic venues in the city, such as the Barrowland Ballroom, followed in the footsteps of former Smiths star Johnny Marr and Gabrielle, who have all played at summer nights at the bandstand this year. Fans agreed with the rockers' observation, with one saying, "Loved it. Awesome venue, band, weather and crowd. I was gutted when you finished." Another chipped in, "Transmit 2025? Over 30s night." One fan declared, "What a night, I got blown away." Ocean Colour Scene is known for anthems "The Day We Caught the Train" and the Riverboat Song. We previously reported that the Kelvin Grove bandstand had turned 100 years old. For the first 2 decades after its opening in 1853, Kelvin Grove Park was designed as a place to walk, rest and enjoy nature. That changed in 1872 when the 25th Lanarkshire Rifle Volunteers became the first band to perform there. The current bandstand is actually Kelvin Grove Park's third. The Sun Foundry built the first in 1875. It opened the following year in an extension of the park where the Lord Kelvin statue now stands. Concerts at the city's new attraction became incredibly popular, and Saturday crowds regularly topped 10,000. That article was by Stacey Mullen. From Glasgow Times, Friday, 2nd of August, Lifestyle section. So blessed. Winner of Glasgow's Best Hair Salon revealed, by Ava White. The Glasgow Times search for the best hair salon in the city has come to an end, and we can now reveal the winner. Harper Hair Salon, located on Battlefield Road in the city's south side, has been crowned as the best hair salon in Glasgow by our readers. In June, we asked residents to nominate their favourite hairdressers for consideration, and voting for the competition officially closed on July the 24th. A reporter went along to the salon earlier this week to have a chat with its owners, who say they were in shock after hearing the news. Harper Hair Salon is owned by Shirley Beattie, Susie McClelland and Pamela McKnight. It opened just over a year ago in May 2023. Susie, who grew up in Kilsyth, explained that it was incredible to have even been nominated. She said, "You always go into these things with a positive attitude. You're not going in to lose it, and you obviously want to do well. It was a shock to even be nominated because it came from our clients. We were super grateful and hopeful to win. When I found out, I told the team, I think we won, and we were all screaming. It's really exciting. Not only is this amazing for the owners, but also the team, as you're only as good as the team you've got. We are honestly so blessed. When we took over the salon from the previous owner, we kept on all of the staff, which is incredible, and personally for us, the best thing we got out of it was the girls. Our team is genuinely amazing, and I can't thank the girls enough. Our staff are so valuable." Pamela told our reporter that support from the salon's clients has been overwhelming. She also revealed the meaning behind the shop's name. Pamela said, "I think what's nice about Battlefield is that everybody steps in and helps each other. I worked somewhere else before, which was amazing, and the people around about were great, but I must say Glasgow is completely different. It's blown it out of the park. It's been so overwhelming." The story behind her name is Susie's little girl Harper. We were back and forth for ages, and Susie's boss at the time said, "Why don't you call it Harper?" Susie had reservations straight away because it's her wee one's name, but I thought it made sense because if it wasn't for Harper, Susie wouldn't have come home from working near London and we wouldn't be doing this, so it just fit. It was definitely the right choice and I think it's lovely. We've had highs and lows, but it's all been worth it. Stacey Mullen, editor of the Glasgow Times, commented, "We know that so many of Glasgow's salons went through a hard time during the pandemic. They are such an important part of everyone's life, which is why we wanted to celebrate them after a tough few years. We launched the best of with the aim of finding just that. We were overwhelmed by how many of our wonderful readers voted for their favourites, and let me tell you, it took a long time to count those votes. We are delighted to celebrate the winner with a feature on their story, and we thank every business who took part in our special Best Of celebration." That article was by Ava White.
From the Glasgow Times, Saturday the 3rd of August, from the news section, Beer Appreciation Group to celebrate anniversary. A Glasgow-based beer appreciation group will be celebrating its 5th birthday with a beer-filled party. Glas Ladies Beer Society, a group for beer-loving women and non-binary people, will be celebrating the Beer is for Everyone festival on November 16 at Dry Grape Brewery and is inviting everyone to join the fun. The events will run from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. and include a range of independent breweries and vendors to raise funds for charities. Returning to the event are local breweries Simple Things Fermentations, Ducat Brewing Co. and Upfront Brewing. New additions include vendors from south of the border and Scotland's first cider bottle shop, Ibo Cider. Sarah Christie, a member of the Glas Ladies admin team, said, "One of our core group tenets is inclusivity. We always strive to design our events to appeal to as wide a demographic as possible because, as the name says, beer is indeed for everyone." The festival will also include vegan, gluten-free and low/no ABV beers to cater for varying dietary needs. From every ticket sold, £2 will be donated to the Scottish Action for Mental Health, SAMH, and the Women's Centre, Glasgow. Tickets are now on sale at tinyurl.com, with a limited number of early bird tickets available. A raffle will also contribute to the funds raised for selected charities. Glasgow brewery Simple Things Fermentations has shown continuous support for the festival. Phil Sissons, owner and brewer, said, "The Beer is for Everyone festival is one of our favourite events in the calendar. It is well organised and the Glas Ladies always go to a lot of trouble to look after us, making sure everything runs smoothly and attending to the details as well as the bigger picture. There's a genuine desire to make the festival work for everyone, breweries and guests, and that makes for a really enjoyable and rewarding experience. We'll always be there." For more information or to offer sponsorship and raffle donations, contact Glas Ladies Beer Society at gmail.com. That's GLASLADIESBEERSOCIETY @gmail.com. And that article was unattributed. From the Glasgow Times, Saturday the 3rd of August, from the news section, calls for urgent action to improve safety. Report by Ava White. Thousands are calling for urgent action to be taken to improve safety at a dangerous road junction in North Lanarkshire. A petition was lodged on July 18th to review the A725 Shawhead flyover in Coat Bridge after so many accidents and near misses on this stretch of road. It has so far gathered more than 2,700 signatures. The petition comes after a fatal crash involving a Ford Transit flatbed van, red HGV and black Mini Cooper took place on July 18th on the flyover at its junction with the A8 eastbound slip road. We previously reported emergency services were called to the area at around 11:20 am and the road was closed until at around 5:30pm. Police Scotland confirmed the driver of the Transit, a 50-year-old man who had been named as Viril Chiuchu, has died. Those inside the other vehicles were checked over at the scene. It is understood inquiries to establish the full circumstances of the collision remain ongoing. A spokesperson for Police Scotland said, "Anyone with information is asked to call Police Scotland via 101, quoting incident number 1190 of July 18th. The petition, which calls for a review of the junction, highlights various concerns local residents and motorists have, including traffic lights reportedly changing too quickly and drivers jumping lights." It reads, "I'm writing this because of so many accidents and near misses resulting in death or injury at the A725 Shawhead flyover in Coatbridge. This is a disgrace of a junction. Traffic lights are changing too quickly. Drivers are jumping lights. The amount of accidents here is a disgrace, and the council needs to do something about this before other drivers die or are seriously injured in an accident. Find the money and change this road or put it back to the way it was before with roundabouts to help slow down the traffic." The petition can be viewed at change.org/p/A725-change. Motorists shared their own experiences and thoughts in the comments. One person said, "I dread using this junction. Small changes to its design would make a huge difference." A second commented, "This flyover junction is so dangerous, I avoid it if I can." A third added, "This road, traffic lights and junction is a disgrace. The lights change far too quickly while filter lane lights aren't always shown." Fulton McGregor, MSP for Coatbridge and Christen, told the Glasgow Times he had been in contact with Transport Scotland over the years regarding this junction. He said, "Over the years I have made representation to the Transport Scotland regarding this area of the road, and I am currently seeking an update on planned changes which were outlined when I last met with them earlier this year. I'm also seeking a further meeting to put forward constituents' concerns and have kept the Cabinet Secretary in the loop as they have raised this junction in Parliament several times over the years. I am very aware of concerns going back some years and how the number of accidents and near misses witnessed by road users and the local community has eroded confidence in the safety of this junction. I will continue to communicate with the local community as my discussions with Transport Scotland progress and, once more, thank the community for raising their concerns with me, for assisting emergency services on the day of this very tragic accident, and pay my deepest condolences to the family of the gentleman who tragically lost his life." A Transport Scotland spokesperson said, "Our sympathies are with family and friends affected by this accident." As part of standard policy, Transport Scotland officials have met with Police Scotland and the road operator, Scottish Roads Partnership, to obtain more detailed information. "We acknowledge the public interest in this, notably this petition, and work closely with partner organisations on safety matters more widely. As is the case for the whole trunk road network, these junctions are kept under regular review to ensure they operate as they should, and any recent audits are not identified any issues. It is understood North Lanarkshire Council is not responsible for the A725 Shawhead flyover." And the article was written by Ava White and read today by me, Ian McKenna. From the Glasgow Times, Saturday the 3rd of August, from the news section, "Driver, 79, caught drinking after visiting supermarket." This article is an exclusive by Esther Tarnay. An elderly man drank 2 cans of alcohol at a Morrison's shop and then drove home. A worker spotted James Turner outside the Annisland store at 11:55am on April the 5th, 2024. She noticed him drinking 2 full cans of what she thought was alcohol. She went to see the cans and confirmed that it was, in fact, alcohol. Turner entered the driver's seat of a nearby car, so the employee tried to stop him from driving off. The 79-year-old hesitated, but then drove off, leaving the car park. Police were notified at 12:20 p.m. via a lookout broadcast. Officers later saw Turner exiting his car. It was noted that the travel time from Morrison's to the address would have been around 15 minutes. Turner was stopped and spoken to. Cops detected a strong smell of alcohol on him. Roadside procedures were carried out and he failed the breath test. He was arrested, cautioned and taken to the police station. He was later released. The Kelvindale resident appeared at Glasgow Sheriff Court after he pleaded guilty to driving after consuming alcohol. 100 millilitre of his breath contained 32 micrograms of alcohol. Sheriff Patricia Price said, "This is his second such conviction. That is what concerns me." Turner's lawyer explained, "He is 79 years old with no other convictions beside the two mentioned. This will be one of the lower readings that you have seen." The sheriff remarked, "A car is a lethal weapon in anybody's hands." The solicitor added, "We all accept that it is a very good reason that, in Scotland, the limit is lower than in England and Wales. There, this would not be illegal. It was really a short period of driving, but the employee quite rightly raised the alarm. He has gone through life working and is now retired. Obviously, he's not going to be driving for a considerable time and that will impact his social life. He has an adult son. He's a very active member of his church." Sheriff Price said, "There is a bit of work to be done in terms of decision making. It's a grave concern for me that someone who has reached this age and is in front of the courts for the second time in 4 years. The problem with drink driving is that it can cause death and destruction." Turner was sentenced to 8 months of supervision and tagged for 8 weeks, forcing him to stay within his home between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. every day. He was also disqualified for 40 months. And that article was an exclusive by Esther Tarnay. From the Glasgow Times, Saturday the 3rd of August, from the news section, gang member that trafficked drugs caged. Errol, 52, who travelled to Portugal to avoid capture, has been returned to the UK. Report by Ben Waddell. A leading member of an organised crime group that trafficked drugs to Motherwell has been caged after avoiding capture in Portugal. Stephen Earle travelled to the European country in July 2020 and remained there to avoid capture after the National Crime Agency, NCA, apprehended his associates in March 2021. The 52-year-old, who was being investigated by the NCA, was nicked by the Policia Judiciaria fugitive team in Faro in January this year at the request of the NCA and returned to the UK on March 18. The gang member worked closely with his cousin, Terence Earle, 50, who was caged for 16.5 years in April 2023. The NCA says the pair used the encrypted communications platform EncroChat to run the criminal enterprise, with the help of subordinates Stanley Feerick, 70, and Lee Baxter, 50. Baxter and Feerick have also been sentenced for their part in the Class A operation, and Feerick in relation to the creation of an amphetamine lab in Scotland. Terence and Stephen used the handles Thickbore and Octohand on the secret chat system. On it, they discussed prices for buying and selling the drugs, as well as the logistics of trafficking. According to the NCA, the duo shipped at least 10 kilos of heroin and 7 kilos of cocaine, with the former being moved from Merseyside to Motherwell and the latter in the opposite direction. Stephen, who is from Crosby, Liverpool, pleaded guilty to 4 drug supply charges at Liverpool Crown Court on April 16. Now, the English crime gang member has been sentenced to 11 years and 4 months in prison on Friday, August the 2nd at Liverpool Crown Court. NCA Branch Commander John Sayers said, "Stephen Earle was a key part of a dangerous organised crime group that shipped Class A drugs to be dealt across communities in England and Scotland. This lethal trade is closely linked to exploitation and violence, so bringing this OCG to justice has helped protect the public." Earle's arrest in Portugal shows that law enforcement's collective reach is wide and there is no place to hide for people engaged in drug trafficking. The NCA has the capability and international relationships to find you and make you pay for your crimes. The NCA's investigation formed part of Operation Venetic, the UK NCA-led law enforcement response to the takedown of the EncroChat service in June 2020. And that article was written by Ben Waddell. From the Glasgow Times, Saturday the 3rd of August, from the news section, Sex attacker behind bars. This article is unattributed. A sex attacker who preyed on 2 vulnerable young girls has been jailed for 6 years. John McIntyre repeatedly abused the traumatised pair who were described as easy targets. The 67-year-old was this week sentenced at the High Court in Glasgow. He had been convicted of 2 charges of lewd and libidinous behaviours towards the then girls between 1985 and 1991. The crimes occurred in Glasgow and South Lanarkshire. Judge Douglas Brown told McIntyre, "From the evidence and a statement from the first victim, she said this has impacted her whole life. She still suffers from nightmares and flashbacks which have become worse after giving evidence." He said the second victim was preyed upon in return for food. Judge Brown added, "This has affected so many aspects of her life. She still struggles and feels incredibly angry about it all." McIntyre, of the city's Bridgeton, will be on the sex offenders list indefinitely. And that article was unattributed.
This is from the Glasgow Times on Monday the 5th of August from the news section. Tiny Gem, Glasgow restaurant, mentioned in New York Times. This article is written by Rebecca Newlands. A Tiny Gem, Glasgow restaurant is so popular it was mentioned in the New York Times. It's not often a humble neighbourhood eatery becomes known and recognised on an international scale, but for one Chinese restaurant in the South Side, their recipes have earned them a shout-out across the pond. Located in Cathcart, but with plans to move to a bigger unit, the Real One is a small kitchen with less than half a dozen tables. Chef Leah Wu has been bringing the smells, tastes and atmosphere of China's street food to Glasgow since 2020. In 2023, the American publication presented their perfect vision of how to spend 36 hours in Glasgow. Among visits to the Burrell Collection and Pollock Park, the author's first stop for food was the Real One. A steamed-up restaurant window strung with Chinese lanterns promises a satisfying meal on a cold Glasgow night, and the Real One does not disappoint, it reads. In the Cathcart area of the South Side, this tiny gem, modelled on a street food cafe, draws customers from across the city. The unfussy decor and great affordable food in a shoebox space is typical of Glasgow's do-it-yourself spirit. Its young head chef, Leah Wu Hassan, sends out smoky-flavoured southern gizo dishes, hand-pulled noodles, and house-made chili oils and sauces from an elbow-to-elbow kitchen. Their favourite dishes include the chunky Gouda noodles and the fabulous caramel-coated pork ribs, flash-fried in aged dark vinegar, a recipe inherited from Leah's aunt. It's no wonder the food is so revered. When Leah opened the Real One, she did so with a strong desire to offer something different to the typical Chinese takeaway food we eat so often in the UK. I worried that people wouldn't warm to it, she told us in 2022. But on the very first day we opened, there were people queuing down the street. The future looks bright for the Real One, as plans are still underway to move to a new space in Mount Florida. This article was written by Rebecca Newlands. This is from the Glasgow Times on Monday the 5th of August from the news section. Glasgow's potholes would cost £104 million to fix. This article is written by Kathleen Nutt. Scottish Labour has accused the SNP of letting Scotland's roads crumble, as it was revealed that Scotland's road repair backlog has risen to £2.56 billion. Figures obtained by Freedom of Information requests found the estimated cost of fixing the country's local roads in 2024 has risen to at least £2.56 billion, despite 4 councils not providing data. Scottish Labour Transport spokesperson Alex Rowley said years of brutal cuts to local authorities' budgets by the Scottish Government, which have hit non-ring-fenced policy areas such as transport particularly hard. Under the SNP, Scotland's roads have been left to crumble and drivers are paying the price, he said. Scotland's pothole-ridden roads are a damning symbol of SNP failure and a daily reminder of how badly this government has hollowed out council budgets. The SNP must end the brutal cuts to councils and deliver for the communities across Scotland being so badly let down by this out-of-touch SNP government. East Dunbartonshire had the most expensive backlog, with repairs estimated to cost £598 million. Those in Dumfries and Galloway, Highland and the Borders were expected to cost £253 million, £233 million and £123 million respectively, while the cost of repairing roads in Glasgow was estimated to be £104 million. The 4 councils which did not provide information were Aberdeen, Dundee, Inverclyde and East Dunbartonshire. In May, the public spending watchdog, the Accounts Commission, warned Scotland's councils will need to take even tougher decisions in the coming years to balance their budgets. The body said most of the extra Scottish Government money that local authorities had been given was ring-fenced for particular policies and pay. Derek Yule of the Accounts Commission said at the time it was getting harder for councils to do more with less. They have to find and then deliver significant levels of savings to address budget gaps, he said. Fully engaging with local people and being clear about the different and difficult budget choices is vital, whilst understanding the impacts on the most vulnerable. Council body COSLA said a real and meaningful solution was needed to deal with a long-term issue of underfunding, but the Scottish Government said it had made record funding available to local authorities this year. Minister for Employment and Investment Tom Arthur pointed to Chancellor Rachel Reeves's announcement last week of £22 billion cuts to be made to public spending as he hit back at Scottish Labour. First Minister John Swinney said the announcement move will see reductions to the Scottish Government's budget. Just this week, the UK Labour government announced £22 billion of cuts to public spending. That will see millions wiped from the Scottish Government's budget to deliver key services, said Mr Arthur. With no sense of irony, the Labour Party are now making spending demands, despite so far failing to inform the Scottish Government on the full extent this latest wave of austerity will have on Scotland's budget. In these challenging times, people rightly expect serious discussion and cooperation between political parties. It's time for Labour in Scotland to step up to the plate. That article was written by Kathleen Nutt. This is from the Glasgow Times on Monday the 5th of August, from the news section. Glasgow College graduate now working for Alexander McQueen. This article is written by Stuart Patterson. A fashion executive who has worked with the biggest global brands says she owes everything to college lecturers in Glasgow. Stephanie McCartney said she only got into college by the skin of her teeth and failed her first year, before taking the second chance she was given then, never looking back. The 32-year-old from Baillieston, now based in London, missed out on grades she needed for a university place and just managed to get into Glasgow Kelvin College in 2009. She said after failing her first year, She was given a second chance when she was accepted onto an HNC in fashion business, which then got her into the final year of a fashion management course at Robert Gordon University in Aberdeen. Her efforts then led to a coveted internship at e-commerce giant Net-a-Porter in London. Stephanie said, "I was prioritising friends, shopping, and silly things rather than my studies. I was still quite immature. It became even more difficult when my dad became seriously ill. There was a lot of time when I didn't attend because I was trying to be there for him. Having to leave Glasgow Kelvin College after just 1 year was the biggest wake-up call I've ever had. It was the first time someone said, 'You can't continue, you didn't do enough, and it's all over.' It was so devastating. The absolute shame and embarrassment of having to tell your parents is something I'll never want to relive. I owe everything to them for giving me a second chance." Since then, her career has seen her travel the world and work alongside bosses at Gucci, Prada, Alexander McQueen, and Boggetta Veneta. The Glasgow Kelvin College graduate is currently working as Alexander McQueen's Senior Worldwide E-Concession and Marketplace Manager. Stephanie is now backing National Opportunity Day, backed by Glasgow business tycoon Willie Hohe, who attended Springburn College, now part of Kelvin College, during a commercial engineering apprenticeship. He said, "I am delighted to be supporting National Opportunity Day for a second year, and to see the return of a worthwhile and important campaign. Attending college set me up for life. The skills and confidence I gained there helped me find a direction for my career that worked for me. National Opportunity Day will once again shine a spotlight on the wealth of opportunities available to students through clearing, highlighting the possibilities on offer to people of all ages and stages through a practical and applicable college education. National Opportunity Day, NOD, celebrates the opportunities made available through a college education." That article was written by Stuart Patterson. This is from the Glasgow Times on Monday, the 5th of August, from the news section. Glasgow Library does contain RAC, survey confirms. This article is written by Ava White. A Glasgow library, which was forced to close more than 10 months ago, does contain RAC, a structural survey has revealed. Cardonald Library temporarily shut in September 2023 after the presence of reinforced autoclaved aerated concrete, RAC, was discovered in plans. RAC is considered a potentially dangerous material as it is less durable than concrete and is prone to collapse when wet, as moisture soaks into its aerated holes. At the time, Glasgow Life, the arm's-length leisure body of Glasgow City Council, said it was in the process of appointing structural engineers to carry out further investigations. In an update, the organisation stated that it had received the results of a structural survey. This confirmed that RAC is present in the Moss Park Drive building and that it is high risk. It is understood that Glasgow Life is developing plans for remedial work, with timescales and costs being discussed with the council. A spokesperson for Glasgow Life said, "We have received the results of a structural survey which confirms that RAC is in Cardonald Library building and is high risk. Glasgow Life has been developing a series of proposals to tackle the RAC discovered at Cardonald Library, and we are discussing these proposals, likely timescales, and potential costs with Glasgow City Council. When this process has concluded, we will update users on the next steps." That article was written by Ava White. This is from the Glasgow Times on Monday, the 5th of August, from the news section. Nothing to suggest violent protests coming to Scotland, police say. This article is written by Rosie Lewis. There is no intelligence to suggest violence similar to that in England in the wake of the Southport attack will occur in Scotland, police have said. Police Scotland has stepped up patrols across the country, the force said, in response to scenes south of the border, with the far-right rioting on Friday night, burning a police station and attacking a mosque in Sunderland. Assistant Chief Constable Katrina Payton said, "We understand these recent events may cause concern. That is why we have focused our efforts on increasing policing visibility and engagement across the country, as our primary commitment remains the safety and well-being of our communities and our officers, and in building trust and confidence. We continue to closely monitor the events in England." Police Scotland is dedicated to upholding human rights and will not tolerate violence or discrimination against any group. We wish to thank the Scottish people for their support, and while we believe there is no cause for alarm, we encourage anyone with concerns or information to report them to us. It is not clear if a protest will happen in Scotland this weekend, but a so-called pro-UK rally is scheduled for September the 7th in Glasgow, an event promoted by English Defence League EDL founder Tommy Robinson on social media. Council leader Susan Aitken said Robinson is not welcome in Glasgow, while Scottish Labour leader Anna Sauer said he has no doubt the city will reject the far right. Robinson, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, left the EDL more than a decade ago before it later collapsed, though its members are believed to have moved on to other far-right groups. In the wake of the Southport attack, which saw 3 children killed, BB King, 6, Elsie Stancombe, 7, and Alice da Silva Agua, 9, violence has sprung up in the town this week, as well as spreading across England. Axel Maganwa Rudakubana, 17, from Lancashire, is accused of the attack and appeared in court earlier this week, but false claims spread online that the suspect was an asylum seeker who had arrived in the UK by boat. That article was written by Rosie Lewis.
From the Glasgow Times, Tuesday the 6th of August, from the news section, local man hits out at overgrown council property. Report by Aidan MacDonald. A Clydebank resident has slammed Western Bartonshire Council over its maintenance of a property beside his home. Gerard Kane, who lives with his wife on Richmond Street, feels the local authority has abandoned the site. The building and its yard have been left empty since March 2015, when Adapt Limited, a government scheme, fell through. Weeds and plants are overgrown outside the building beside the 77-year-old's property. He has also expressed concerns about the maintenance of the pavements in the street. We previously reported on Gerard's frustrations with the site in 2019, in which he described the organisation's failure to keep the site tidy as an utter disgrace. Gerard insists the last time the site was cleared was in 2021, and that since then the building has been left to become an eyesore, despite his repeated attempts to make the local authority aware of the issue. The building is in a right state and it's not the sort of thing anyone would be like to live beside, he said. Recently, steel doors were put on it, which stopped people breaking in and running about, so that was a start. However, the mess remains outside of it. The last time everything was cut back was 2021. Over the last 3 years, it has deteriorated again. I have contacted the council many times during this period, but it has not led anywhere. A wire from the gutter of the council property is also hanging into the front of Gerard's property, and he hopes the council will ultimately knock down the building, insisting it would make the whole process a lot easier. He feels the site currently looks as bad as it has at any point during the almost 40 years he has lived on Richmond Street. The whole thing is a complete mess and makes the street look bad, he continued. The pavements are one of the many examples of things being abandoned, with weeds growing out of the path. Council staff used to come along and spray weed killer, which did help keep things under control, but that has stopped recently. I have lived here for 38 years, and this is the worst it has ever been. If I did want to sell my house, for example, this would really affect it. Gerard was last in contact with the council 3 weeks ago about getting the site tidied up. However, the problem is yet to be resolved. Back on Friday, July 5, I was told the job had been costed by a contractor and then approved by a council, he continued. However, nothing has changed and I gave up after that. A spokesperson for Western Bartonshire Council said, "We are aware of Mr Kane's concerns and will be carrying out works to cut back and clear vegetation at this property. We will continue to liaise with Mr Kane until this is complete." And the article was written by Aidan MacDonald. From the Glasgow Times, Tuesday the 6th of August, from the news section. Plan unveiled for hand-painted Pride mural. This article is unattributed. A hand-painted mural in celebration of Pride could be displayed on the building of a city nightclub if Glasgow planners approve. Global Street Art has asked Glasgow City Council for permission to display the mural at the AXM on 90 Glassford Street. The firm describes itself as one of the world's leading street art platforms, centering itself around hosting and sharing the world's most iconic and emerging artists, past and present. The proposed mural will be in place for 12 months leading up to Glasgow Pride 2025 event next summer. A planning statement said, being from the world of street art, the applicant strongly admires the extensive street mural culture and history within Glasgow and look forward to making their own contribution to the artistic fabric of the city. The application was submitted because the mural may contain images and or lettering identifying the artwork as being associated with a sponsor such as a charity or company. The planning statement added, "The inclusion of such branding triggers the need for advertising content. It is to this end that the application is submitted." The firm behind the plan said it wasn't possible at this stage to reveal the possible design of the mural. The planning statement said, "The nature of this project is such that formal instruction to commission and design the proposed mural cannot be initiated until consent to secure a mural is secured. At this point, it is not therefore possible to submit a specific design as part of the application." The planning statement added, "The temporary display of a hand-painted artwork mural supporting Pride and celebrating the event's participants would create visual interest supplementing the existing vibrancy to this area. It would also create new footfall in the locality, bringing in visitors with a positive impact upon nearby hospitality and retail businesses. The mural would also provide a focal point and would, it is envisaged, become a visitor shop where followers of the event, visiting Glasgow, would gather to take souvenir selfies and photographs. A decision is expected on the plan by September the 16th, and that article was unattributed. From the Glasgow Times, Tuesday the 6th of August, from the news section. Plans for 2,000 homes at former steelworks. Report by Brian Donnelly. Proposals to clear a massive former industrial site across an area of land with scope to provide over 2,000 homes have been lodged. The major planning application covers 200 acres of land in the centre of the historic former steelworks site. A proposal of application notice has been submitted to North Lanarkshire Council for the extraction and remediation works of a land at Ravenscraig, moving the regeneration of the former steelworks into its next phase. The application covers the remediation of 200 acres of land in the centre of Ravenscraig, which equates to approximately 20% of the site. This includes an area known as Meadowhead, which is adjacent to the new urban park, the Craig, and Ravenscraig's regional sports facility, plus a section of land next to New College Lanarkshire Motherwell campus, known as plots TC1 to TC3. With the site being a former industrial steelworks facility, certain parts of land at Ravenscraig requires extensive remediation before any new building can take place, the developer said. The remediation works include the removal of remnants from steel production and deep reinforced concrete foundations, preparing the land for future redevelopment. The remediation works represent a substantial investment into the community of Ravenscraig, which will see the extraction, recycling and backfilling of over 600,000 cubic metres of material. Russell Wilkie, director at Ravenscraig Limited, said, Ravenscraig is one of Europe's largest regeneration and community creation initiatives, building a self-sufficient community with high housing quality, transport links, education and employment opportunities. These essential remediation works will allow for future investment and growth for Ravenscraig. This area of land represents huge potential for the people of North Lanarkshire, with scope to provide over 2,000 homes, which would add to the 1,000 homes built to date. Following the notice for land remediation, there will be a 3-month consultation period before the submission of the planning application, with a final planning decision expected in 2025. Ravenscraig is one of Europe's largest regeneration and community creation initiatives, located in North Lanarkshire. The 1,200-acre transformational regeneration project is led by Ravenscraig Limited, a joint venture company comprising Barratt Developments, Tata Steel and Scottish Enterprise, with £250 million investment to date. Ravenscraig Steelworks closed in 1992, turning a once thriving industrial hub into a vacant brownfield site. Responding to calls to transform the land to support the local community, Ravenscraig Limited is remediating and redeveloping the site, creating a thriving new community which supports the economy of North Lanarkshire and Scotland. Ravenscraig Limited is a not-for-profit development, with all income from land sites reinvested into the regeneration of Ravenscraig. The revised Ravenscraig Master Plan was approved in 2020, focused on sustainable and inclusive growth as a mixed-use site which supports a self-sufficient community. This year will see the planning applications underway for an additional new build, affordable housing, neighbourhood retail opportunities and transport infrastructure. Community consultations are taking place on Thursday, August 29, 1 to 7 p.m, and Thursday, September 26, 1 to 7 p.m, at Ravenscraig Regional Sports Facility. And the article was written by Brian Donnelly. From the Glasgow Times, Tuesday the 6th of August, from the news section. Tributes paid to teen who died after collision on motorway. This article is unattributed. The family of a teenager who died following a collision on the M74 have paid tribute to a much-loved son after he was officially named by police. Christopher Keenan, 18, was pronounced dead following the collision on Saturday, August the 3rd. Officers said they were made aware of reports of a man walking southbound on the motorway near Junction 6 for Hamilton at around 3:10am. The collision, involving an HGV, took place a short time later, and the teenager from Blantyre was pronounced dead at the scene. Christopher's family have issued a statement paying tribute to their loved one. It reads, "We would like to thank everyone for their condolences. Christopher was a much-loved son, brother, grandson and cousin. He was an inspiration to all that knew him, and he will be greatly missed by everyone. Inquiries into the incident remain ongoing." Sergeant John Houston said, "Our thoughts remain with Christopher's family and friends at this very difficult time. I am urging anyone who witnessed the incident or saw Christopher walking along the roadway and has not yet spoken to us to please get in touch. We would also like to see any dashcam footage taken around the time of the collision on the M74 between junctions 6 and 7. Anyone with information should contact us by calling 101, quoting reference 0512 of August the 3rd. And that article was unattributed. From the Glasgow Times, Tuesday the 6th of August, from the news section. Trio ambushed pensioner in home and stole bank cards. Report by Connor Gordon. A masked man ambushed a pensioner and used his stolen bank card at a bookmaker's. Gerald Adams, 32, Ian Burns, 33, and Elaine Esnall, 42, targeted Stuart Clark, 67, in Glasgow's Queen's Park on October the 4th last year. The trio forced themselves into the property believing that Mr. Clark had £1,000 in his possession. Adams, Burns and Esnall ransacked Mr. Clark's flat and only made off with £30 as well as his bank cards. Adams was later spotted using Mr. Clark's bank card at a William Hill where he gambled £790 on machines. Adams, Burns and Esnall pleaded guilty at Glasgow Sheriff Court to heimsaching. Esnall admitted separate charges of breaching bail. The court heard that Esnall had previously known Mr. Clark and was subjected to bail conditions against him. Mr. Clark was home alone when his door was banged by one of the trio. He noticed Esnall as well as two men wearing face coverings. Prosecutor Katie Malcolm said, as Mr. Clark looked around, Adams struck him to the head with a metal object, causing him to bleed from his head. All three entered the flat and Adams began stating that he knew that he had £1,000 in cash and to tell him where it was. Mr. Clark said that he didn't have any money. Esnall and Burns looked through drawers and belongings in the flat while Adams brandished the blade at Mr. Clark. Esnall and Burns took a mobile phone, a debit card and a savings card before they made off. Adams, who stayed for a further hour, then demanded his Seconda watch which Mr. Clark handed over. Adams also took £30 from Mr. Clark's wallet as well as the card to his current account. Ms. Malcolm added, he brandished a knife and demanded his PIN which he gave him. Mr. Clark later dialed 999. He was taken to hospital where he was treated overnight for cuts and bruises. Ms. Malcolm said, Mr. Clark did not cancel the bank cards and CCTV of William Hill showed Adams using the bank cards on gambling machines. There was a total loss of £790 from Mr. Clark's bank account. Esnall was chased when she stated, I didn't rob him, I was just there and took a bank card. Burns meantime said, I didn't rob anybody, while Adams, also of Queen's Park, made no reply. Sentence was deferred until the end of the month by Sheriff Brian Cameron. And that report was written by Connor Gordon and read by me, Ian McKenna. From the Glasgow Times, Tuesday the 6th of August, from the news section. Vacant land transformed into memorial garden. Report by Sandhya Suresh. A Glasgow housing cooperative has used a community grant to turn unused land into a garden. Since 2017, Hawthorn Housing Cooperative has received £80,000 worth of funding from the Scottish Procurement Alliances, SPA, Community Benefit Fund, CBF, in partnership with Lintel Trust. The money has been used to revitalise the Postle Park community, transforming vacant land into a brand new memorial garden. The cooperative has further plans to develop a play park in partnership with the council, with facilities for older children and adults, including fitness equipment and cycling paths. Colin Turnbull, director of Hawthorn Housing Cooperative, said, for an organisation of our size, the grant awarded through the Community Benefit Fund is significant. The area around the co-op was run down, with derelict buildings, abandoned land, fly tipping and no pleasant public spaces. The long-term fund has assisted us in developing a social strategy focused on providing wide-range benefits for the residents of this community by improving derelict spaces and a wide range of activities to bring the community together and improve well-being. Having this money has played a significant part in giving us the freedom to turn our ambitions into action and to develop a long-term plan to benefit this community for future generations. Since its launch in 2017, the CBF has given more than £2 million in grants and match funding to more than 102 community groups, charities and various causes. Leslie Anderson, Regional Director at Scottish Procurement Alliance, said, it is incredibly rewarding to see the tangible impact of the Community Benefit Fund in Postle Park and how this investment has contributed to shaping the Hawthorn community over the past 8 years. Since 2017, the work Hawthorn Housing has done to transform the area, as well as supporting its residents to become more engaged with local community groups and initiatives, has been incredible. This is exactly what the CBF aims to do, to get right to the core of what's important to communities and provide them with the necessary support to realise these ambitions and turn them into something which delivers a far-reaching social value. The cooperative efforts have extended to young people futures, which encourages children to participate in gardening and nature activities. The project also includes a wheelchair-accessible path, wildlife pond, and the planting of more than 100 trees by volunteers. Other initiatives include Welcome to Hawthorn, which has been instrumental in integrating more than 70 families from diverse backgrounds and hosting English for speakers of other languages, ESOL classes for people across Pollock Park. The funding has also allowed the development of the Women's Wellbeing Group, which empowers younger women in the community. And that report was by Sandhya Suresh.
From Glasgow Times, Wednesday, 7th of August, Lifestyle section. Chain to open third venue in Glasgow Fort Shopping Centre by Esther Turneye. A restaurant chain is set to open its third venue in a Glasgow shopping centre. Buffet, popular all-you-can-eat world buffet with 2 existing venues, announced on TikTok that they are expanding. The new spot will welcome customers at Glasgow Fort in the East End. In a video, which has already been watched almost 300,000 times, the company said, "Glasgow Fort, are you ready? Buffet Glasgow Fort is coming soon. 2 branches become 3. 3 times award-winning food cooked fresh every 30 seconds. The eatery currently has a unit in the Forge Retail Park and Clydebank Shopping Centre." That article was by Esther Turneye. From Glasgow Times, Wednesday, 7th of August, Lifestyle section. Glasgow restaurant Sapporo Teppanyaki enters liquidation by Esther Turneye. A restaurant in Glasgow's Merchant City has entered liquidation. Sapporo Teppanyaki, a Japanese eatery serving sushi and noodles, originally based in Edinburgh, is affected by the action. Simon Thomas Baraball and Gareth Bishop of McAllister & Co. Insolvency Practitioners Limited were appointed as liquidators of the business last month as the spot was put in creditors' voluntary liquidation. The restaurant's principal trading address is on Ingram Street in Glasgow. It is not yet known if the restaurant will remain open or how it will be affected by this action. That article was by Esther Turneye. From Glasgow Times, Wednesday, 7th of August, Lifestyle section. Italian restaurant takes over huge empty Glasgow unit by Esther Turneye. A restaurant with a brand new concept has taken over a huge empty unit in Glasgow city centre. Assaghini, serving Italian small plates, has recently moved into the George Square unit previously occupied by Doppio Molto, which, as we reported previously, closed unexpectedly last month after 3 years. Now, the new spot, promising a new way to enjoy Italian food, has opened in the prominent space. The chain also has a venue on Byers Road in the West End and in Edinburgh. They serve pasta, pizza, salads and more. That article was by Esther Turneye. From Glasgow Times, Wednesday, 7th of August, Lifestyle section. We asked Silverburn about introducing a new Primark store, an exclusive by Gillian McPherson. A TikTok comedy sketch calling on Silverburn Shopping Centre to introduce a Primark has gone viral. There have been massive calls for the popular fashion retailer to open up there for some time, with shoppers voicing dismay online that this is yet to happen. Captioned, "Silverburn, get a grip and give us a Primark," the 51-second video by @AmberSheery has been viewed more than 150,000 times on the social media platform. Ahead of a new store opening at the Glasgow Fort, and in the wake of the video's viral success, we asked Silverburn and Primark about the possibility of the retailer coming to Pollok. A spokesperson for Silverburn said, "While we cannot comment on Primark's plans, we of course always welcome and listen to the views of our guests. Meanwhile, we are excited to have recently welcomed Mango and All Saints. We have also recently agreed with Jack and Jones, Sea Salt and local Glaswegian brand 40 to open a store in Silverburn. We are very excited that Zara has agreed to expand its presence into a flagship store, and we look forward to introducing more great new brands to Silverburn in the coming months." A Primark spokesperson added, "We love to hear that people would like to have a Primark store near them. As a growing business, we are always looking for new opportunities for store locations. However, we can't comment on speculation about where we might open next." The tongue-in-cheek video makes light of the continual disappointment felt by many as it imagines a gathering of management at the Pollok retail hub. Titled POV, the meeting to decide which shops would be in Silverburn, it kicks off with the video's creator stating, "Okay guys, I've told you to bring some ideas for Silverburn shops." Ideas for shops other than Primark are then put forward and welcomed, while the suggestion of the fashion giant is continually rejected. As well as tens of thousands of views, the video has also attracted more than 200 comments, with one TikTok user describing it as nuts that the shopping centre is not home to a Primark. Another said that the day Primark comes to Silverburn will be the best day in their life, while a further commenter stated that the retail hub needs both a Primark and a Poundland. It also suggested in the comments that the old Debenhams would make an amazing Primark. Showing the strength of feeling, another said, "We demand a Primark, or if they want to be so high class, then a Selfridges." Primark currently has 4 stores in the Glasgow area, with a 5th one due to open at Glasgow Fort in early 2025. The Primark stores currently in the Glasgow area are located in Argyle Street and Sauchiehall Street in Glasgow Centre, and at the Parkhead Forge Shopping Centre and Braehead Shopping Centre. That article was an exclusive by Gillian McPherson.
That concludes this week's edition of the Glasgow Times podcast. Please remember to subscribe to our channels, rate and review, and to tell your friends about our service.